I wanted to use the reflection on the 8th contact event as an opportunity to explore the report that suggests aliens produce holograms or stage fake environments. This point confuses some researchers because it makes it difficult to determine what is real and what is not based on the experiencer's testimony. This has created a climate where they can disregard the testimony of contactees because they cannot distinguish between reality and illusion. So I approach my 8th contact event with this in mind and ask the question, did I really go to Venus? I left room for the possibility that it was all an illusion. Privately, I approach all my contact events with a skeptical mindset. I tell myself, there's no way I ran into an alien on the beach on Hornby Island. Or there's no way I went into a spherical craft. Or there's no way I went into a space base. I'm constantly telling myself, there's no way this is real. But then the certainty of everything floods forward. The tiny details my mind can't make up, the way it connects with the previous contact events, the way details will interact with future contact events, never mind the corroborations that continue repeatedly, plenty of which will be demonstrated today. So in this video, I'll demonstrate how I know for certain I did indeed go to Venus. Now this approach actually begins with having what I label simply as an alien dream. Since I've become public, the aliens have occasionally communicated directly through dreams, which is not uncommon for experiencers. I consider these a form of contact, but not the equivalent of physical contact. However, it's definitely a method they use to communicate. I know it's a dream from them because the content will be about them and be incredibly realistic, with a texture and depth that my own mind has never produced. I'll also feel their presence in the dream. I know it's not physical contact disguised as a dream because the symbols produced seem subconsciously symbolic. And so as I review each contact event, the entities knowing my intentions often provide additional insight into what I witnessed or what they said during contact. So as I prepared to review the 8th contact event, I had a strange alien dream. In this dream, I was walking down a street that felt so real, only to notice a bizarre break in the road, like 2 different levels, like a computer glitch was exposing a reality break. I could feel they were showing me they could create realities in a hologram-like fashion. I was curious about the connection between the dream and the 8th contact event. So I telepathically connected with the leader and asked if the Hornby Island contact event was even real. When he got all Morpheus on me and asked, "What is real?" He then left it at that, not fully answering the question. But he then proceeded to tell me that they are storytellers. That's what they are. Just another aspect of them. Very interesting. And their role as storytellers makes the 8th contact event make a lot of sense. Years later, they will encourage me to write out my experiences, which makes going to Venus a great subplot climax to the story, an alien adventure as a reward for participating in their experiment. And I've known for a long time that as the architects of my story, they know it fulfills the archetypal hero's journey. So then, is it all fake? Well, let me tell you that I know the first 7 contact events are all very real. They're visceral, my body was there, and they include consciousness experiences that I can still draw from to this day. But the 8th contact event is different. It's loose, ethereal, fluid, dreamlike. While all the events are consistent in my memory, the reality of everything does feel harder to gauge in this fluid, astral-like form. There is a general unity and tranquility through everything in this contact event. I suspect this is because my light body, where the awareness of the contact event originates from, was removed from my physical body and then from it materialized / bilocated in full form. But I think the key to understanding what's going on is that reality itself is an illusion, a hologram, and the entities may just be able to tap into that aspect of the universe and make reality. So now, I'd like to comment on some notable individual moments from the Eighth Contact event. There are a few points I think could be elaborated on. The model for obscured memory from alien contact. As I reported in the previous video, which is also detailed in my book, the next day after the contact event, during the day, I went for a walk through the field adjacent to my tent and had the feeling that the red pink object had been there. What had occurred felt connected to me and important, but I didn't understand in what way. I presumed I experienced a spiritual, psychic, or astral event in an unconscious dream state. I never could conceive that what I actually experienced was alien contact. So for me, it's clear that having the out-of-body astral experience and seeing the craft on the field before I became the me that knows them explains why I have a vague knowing of these details the next day. I now understand the reason for this, and it is because their frequency in me, in my own consciousness, is the barrier that keeps the linear memories of the contact event stored away. The memories before the moment of moving over to their frequency, before becoming the me that knows them, are thin and require a degree of focus that I didn't know how to gain at that time. I don't have any other memories besides knowing the craft was on the field and that I had astral projected. This simply demonstrates how the entities restoring the memory of the Eighth Contact event aligns with the model.
So I'm going to relay a story that I haven't ever shared before in public. Well, it's very sacred to me, and that's why I haven't ever shared it. And it's between me and my guru. And, guru's he's a Sadguru, so he's a true guru. So he knows some things that people are still very much figuring out about consciousness. And so he bilocated for me once, and it was a very magical experience. But I also find it as an educational opportunity for us in regards to, what the aliens are even capable of doing. And specifically what happened to me in this contact event. So I know this was bilocation, and some of the, things that happened to me were kind of like almost semi-shared by my experience when my guru bilocated. So let me tell you the story. So it was back in 2011, maybe 2012, possibly. And I was living in BC, and my guru was living in Toronto, and I was flying into Toronto for a conference that a company had paid for me to come to. So it was a work conference, and I wanted to see my guru. So I had asked him, and then he said he couldn't see me because he would be away. And he was actually about 1,000 kilometers, if not further, away. So he was quite far away, and there'd be no possibility to see him. I was saddened by that, and at some point I expressed that, and so he thought he would surprise me. So he was at that moment, he was with another disciple friend in this other location at the same time. As I came off the plane, I was in YYZ, which is the Toronto International Airport, as I got off of the plane. So I was still in the airport, and I was not even in not the area open to the public. So I'd gotten off the plane, and I was walking towards the area where you go grab your baggage. And so I hadn't even gotten to that point yet. And I was still inside the airport. And I'm walking, and I look over at a bookstore, and there's my guru. And my guru has a ticket in his hand. And as I look at him, it's almost like he is acting. And he looks at the ticket and then looks up at like a sign that would be saying to go to this gate. So I look over at him, and he pretends not to see me. He looks at the ticket, looks at the sign, and goes, ah, and then kind of makes a face of like, ah, that's where I'm supposed to go. And then walks purposely right in front of me. And the timing, and it literally is an intersection between the two of us. And he's pretending not to see me, and so much so that I have to call out, "Oh my God, Guruji!" And I'm ecstatic seeing him in public. I immediately, it's what you do as part of the tradition, and it's a very powerful thing to do. Touch the feet of the Guru, and I touched his feet on the ground, and then he blesses me and my son, it's very sweet. And when I get up, I hug him, and he's physically there, but I can feel it doesn't feel like he's there. And at that moment, yes, okay, I touched his feet, and he blesses me, and there's all these people moving around in the airport. Like, no one notices us. Like, I'm an adult, touching the feet of someone in the middle of all this, busyness, and no one stopped to look. It's very interesting. And then when I hugged him, I could feel he wasn't there. It felt like in my heart he had it was like a different vibration, or it was just, I could feel it in my heart that he was, like, me interacting with him, we were on some other type of frequency or something. I said, "Pitaji, it feels like you're not here." And he said, "I'm not." And then I was like stumped. "Pitaji, what are you doing here?" He's like, "I came to see you." And then he said, "Okay, now keep going, and do not turn around, and do not look back." So he instructed me, okay, Badaji. And I was stumped and shocked that I saw my guru, and stunned, and nonetheless, I followed his instruction, and I didn't look back, and I kept walking. And then a later time, over a Zoom call with him, and the other disciple friend, to confirm everything, what had happened, that actually was a real event, and there were other witnesses involved, and my guru bilocated for me. It was very powerful. The things to learn from here that are very, very, very fascinating. I touched him. I was able to hug him. His clothes were there. He had his suitcase with him. It was a full-on appearance, like he was supposed to be at the airport. He had a suitcase with him. He had a plane ticket with him. And when I saw him on Zoom, he was laughing about it all. And he even said, "And this was the suitcase I had." And he picked up the suitcase, and he had his suitcase with him. So he projected fully, and I was able to touch him and interact with him. I even asked him at a later time, I said, "Pitaji, if I had taken your fingernail, would I still have it?" And he said, "Of course, you would still have it with you. It'd be like, it's a fingernail. And so, yeah, there would be me over there with not a fingernail clipping, and you would have taken a fingernail clipping of me at the airport." So now, in reference to the eighth contact event, it answers why I have clothes on. In the contact event, it answers why I take clothes on and off. It answers how there's a biological event. It answers it all with a bilocated body. So the aliens are still able to take biology from a bilocated body. And my whole belief here is that, I didn't know how to bilocate, but the consciousness of the craft knows how to induce that in me, and knows how to, facilitate that process, and maybe even amplify the physicality of your bilocation. So that's my whole thing here. It's just a very powerful event, and it really speaks to, what happened to me with the entities. So yeah, I wanted to share that experience, because that's just one of the means I have of understanding some of the alien methods through what I know from my experience with my guru. Okay, so I just wanted to share that.